Yo Yo what's good สบายดีคนลาว What up ฮัมจังได้ฮัมน้อย You know what I'm saying It's logo on the mic Shout to Alex ธนศักดา G Bloods Talking loud radio You know what I'm saying What up AK Let's go Yeah Talking loud worldwide เป็นรายการ radio มีแต่สาระหน้าหูที่จะเอามาโชว์ให้พวกท่านได้หูให้พวกท่านได้เห็นอันใดที่คักคนลาวก็เฮ็ดเป็น
ส่งเสียงห้องโฆษณาไปจากเมืองลาวให้พี่น้องครับผู้ที่อยู่เมืองหนาวบอกว่าจะอยู่บอนใดอย่าลืมความเป็นลาวตำบักหุ่งลาบก้อยข้าวเหนียวเหล้าขาว
Yeah Make sure y'all tuning in y'all you know what I'm saying G Bloods in the house What up Alex Peace
Check it out, we're back. Episode number 5.
So
I say that with not a lot of enthusiasm. Help me out here, Sam. What is it 6?
I think it's
no,
5.
It's 5. I'm fucking with everyone. But yeah, our last podcast with Johnny Balkan Olsen, very intriguing dude. Told us a lot of information that I had no idea that. It was just kind of cool to hear his backstory and how he made it back to Laos and. First, he went to Thailand, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Went to Thailand, made his roots back to Laos. Anyways, yeah, man, we're kicking it, dude, and we have a really cool guest on the show, my homie Akarath. I know him as Ake, but Ake, hey, what's up, man? Thanks for showing up.
Glad to be on. Happy
Awesome,
to be here.
He's actually a fellow Wisconsinite too.
That's right.
And
That's
really
right.
convenient. There's a lot of dope fucking Kun Lao man in Wisconsin that people don't know much of. And what Ake's doing, my connection with Ake was I knew that he worked with some nonprofits back in the day, throwing down with Laotian events in Milwaukee and just volunteering, helping people out. Overall, Ake, if you can give us a brief, introduction on yourself and what you do.
Is that a go?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so originally from Milwaukee, born and raised here. Grew up Milwaukee, went to school in Milwaukee, except for high school and college, and went to a boarding school, actually, for high school up near Fond du Lac. And then went to UW Whitewater for college, and then back here to Milwaukee to do my master's. But, always been involved in the Lao community for the most part. Just trying to see the community grow, really, trying to just get some exposure to the community, bring it to the forefront of just not only like political recognition, but also just cultural recognition in the city.
I mean, someone from like a background, and like really strong in the academics with, with what you're doing, what's lacking in the Lao community or the community in general, I guess, where we're kind of a variable of that.
I think it's just cohesion. I think it's just the community. I see the Lao community as a very segmented community, right? So it's like smaller communities within a larger community.
Right, yeah.
And because the population is small and it's also kind of like smaller within the Asian population, and within the Southeast Asian like refugee population.
Sure.
Like in Wisconsin, the Hmong to Lao ratio is 6-1.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So 6-1. So it's trying to gain access to funding to any kind of resources from the state, and we're having to go up against, this larger Hmong population.
So that's what I want to ask you too. For someone knowing those numbers and being involved in that, so the 6-1 ratio that's quite a large gap.
Yeah.
I've always thought it was fairly balanced, but no. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like the overall national numbers, the Hmong population and the Laotian population is fairly similar. It's fairly equal, but because the Hmong population is so much more concentrated in 3 states, particularly California, Minnesota, Wisconsin, that makes the Lao population, which is much more spread out throughout the country seem even smaller in Milwaukee,
Now,
Wisconsin.
do you think that's why? I mean, the Hmong population and culture, I guess, in America, they're a lot more organized because they have power in numbers, and
Yeah,
they're getting these
definitely.
resources.
Definitely.
And
yeah.
like Kwan Lao, Laotians, they're not really getting that. Okay? So does it go back to like Hmong people just have more solidarity, or is there more of them to, make these institutions to help themselves out, where lost people don't help each other out, or is it that they don't just have those numbers?
I guess having studied some of the like Hmong culture, I mean, they are a clan-based society to begin with, so they do rally to one another's causes fairly easily, whether that be clan-based or just ethnically cultural based.
Yeah.
So they do have an inclination, I guess, to support each other, because they do see each other much more as families, as a larger family. But in the Lao community, I think it's tougher because there's there's that political divide, there's that social class divide that we brought over from Laos. There's the religious divide, so it's a bit tougher.
Wow, that's
generational too as well.
That's real interesting, man. Because I see it. I work with It's cool. I mean, I worked with the Lao Americans kids, and to see, the solidarity in their community is, I think, something we could really take a page out of their book. And it's unfortunate when I hear Kwan Lao, talk down on, Hmong folks and their culture and whatnot. But I'm like, dude, like, look at them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been, my dad was a good example of it, where he, got shit from the Lao community because he was helping out Hmong people, and of course the Hmong people returned it back, and whatever the case may be. But it's so unfortunate that instead of learning from the Hmong culture, we kind of hate. I'm not saying everyone does that, but we should be more open minded to take a page out of the book, like I said before.
But even historically though, the Laos being ran over by the French and all that, and the Hmong having a different history, and even the way they came to the U.S. right is different. I mean,
is it different? How could you elaborate on that, Sam?
Well, I mean, I think getting the refugees, they're refugees as well, but they also assisted in the war, and so they made a certain pact, with the U.S. as far as being able to come over later down the years after the Vietnam War and stuff. I mean, historically, that's all really I know. You might know more about that than I do, but
yeah, I mean, I think the Hmong really, because there were a lot of the Lao who fought not necessarily for the U.S. but in the Royal Lao Army,
right?
Who were essentially assisting Americans fight in this kind of global Cold War, conflict here. But the Hmong have really done a good job of making sure that Americans remember,
right?
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
Whereas
absolutely.
Lao, we don't really, as a community, we haven't really, made clear to Americans that we were part of this war and we also assisted in your effort to stop communism.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it's frustrating for people that don't know much of people like, let's say, like the normal person from Wisconsin that sees Asian descent, they'll consider them Hmong. And I'm like, I'm Lao. I'm like, what is that? I'm like,
isn't that
what's
frustrating?
Hmong? Yeah, it's hella.
like...
And it's really hard to explain this to them. Like, Hmong essentially were tribe people of Laos, right?
Sure.
That aided America in the war, but like you said before, the Royal Lao Army, which my dad fought in too, they were doing the same thing essentially against the communists, right? That was that's what happened. And but I think you made a perfect point. The Hmong people want America to know, yeah, motherfucker, we fought for the Americans.
And they will not let them forget that.
They will not, and that's so important. I'm so inspired by their motives, man. And touching back on, moving forward with that, like Ake, you being such a, I look at you as like the dark horse, dude, in the community. Like, you're fucking making moves, you're creating awareness, but no one knows about you. They know about Johnny Olsen or a rapper. Nothing against Johnny Olsen, those rappers, but you're doing the legwork essentially in awareness. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, like all of these kind of things that any kind of event that goes on in Milwaukee, you know, I really just want to like, volunteer my time. You know, like I've never thought of myself as wanting to start something new. I also just want to build on what we already have. Like there are, you know, organizations, Lao organizations that exist that, you know, that come up and then they kind of dissipate because of internal political things that go on within each organization. So, I just feel like we need to kind of bring those back instead of trying to start an entirely new thing and just keep on building on or keep on creating new things. It's not, I don't know, I mean, our community is already so small. I feel like it's so hard for us to come together when it really shouldn't be that hard.
yeah,
So, I mean, I guess the hope is in, you know, the 1.5 second generation, third generation that's coming up. I mean, at least because we're not really aware of the political, you know, conflicts that maybe our parents' generation had with each other.
right. Now, do you find it frustrating as, you know, community organizer or activist to not see a lot of Lao programs? And when they are Lao programs, they're not ran by Lao folks. Like we kind of touched base on. From my experience in this situation I'm talking about is I used to work for the Milwaukee Christian Center and the Latino, well, let's use the Milwaukee Christian Center, for example. They had a Lao program there. It was ran by, you know, some study-nose white girl from Wauwatosa that was making 80 G's a year implementing these programs. And right away, I saw the dirtiness in nonprofits. You know, I saw them just pretty much writing their own salaries. Let's have a face of the Laotian community do the dirty work, and, you know, whether it's mentoring, it's so yeah, it was really frustrating for me to see that, let alone, you know, it's a double-edged sword. Like, yeah, it was cool that I was doing that, but for me not to like fully be able to reach them the way I wanted to, rather than work for someone that really wasn't in it for the money, you know, I found that really frustrating. And I don't know too many what Laos communities or nonprofits or organizations are there in Milwaukee. What's the big one, would you say?
See, that's the thing, that to say like there's one prominent one or one that's predominant among the others, I can't really even pinpoint one.
Yeah,
because they've all kind of had their, you know, each one would be prominent maybe within a certain time frame or something, you know, maybe for a couple of years. But the most recent one I would say was the Lao American organization.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, so I mean I think maybe a few summers back they had some good programming. They had some language programs and some sports programs, and then they also for youth, and then they also did some translation services.
Okay.
So, you know, social, educational type of things.
Is that the program your mom's involved in then, or
no? She's with the
St.
Lao
Michael's
American.
Church, right?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
St. Michael's Church too, and then she's also with like the Lao American Women's Association or organization, LAWO.
I think every Lao mom is involved in my
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, your mom is known for like kind of being the upper tier person, which is awesome. Now, is it what are they doing? Is it like food drives? Is it this language for the younger generation?
LAWO?
Yeah.
Oh man. It's hard for me to be like a Lao person to speak ill of. Well, you know,
it's fine, man.
especially
That's what it's here
especially when
for.
it's
We've
like
been
your
talking
mom.
shit all day.
Yeah, but it's kind of frustrating because they're like not incorporated, right? So they're not like they don't have their 501c3.
Right.
So from like an outsider's perspective, it seems like they're just fundraising for more parties, parties fundraising for more parties. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I totally know.
like, what is the point of this organization? Is there? I don't know what it is, to be honest.
Well, that's where you come in, man. That's where to see like the trials and tribulations that these generations are doing. I mean, it's a valuable lesson to like build upon that. And is that what you're trying to do then?
Yeah. So like right now, this past summer, I had a Lao culture camp.
Yeah.
And initially it was because, well, let me just back up a little bit. So like in the past 3 years, I've been working with the Lao Heritage Foundation. So they're based in DC, and they've been going strong for about 10 years. So, they've been doing or teaching traditional instruments to kids, or basically whoever wants to learn.
Wow.
So they do like performing arts. They do like they used to do like some weaving. I'm not sure exactly, but mostly I think the music is kind of like their primary focus. So I went to DC probably like the last 3 years, maybe like once or twice a month. No, maybe once every 1 or 2 months, just to like learn some instruments so that I can come back and teach some kids here. And that was really because, like, you know how every time you go to like Lao parties or like Lao performances, like traditional performances, you always have like girls dance, young girls dance, and then they always just play a CD, you know? So my thought was, wouldn't it be cool to have like real music to accompany that, the dance? And then you can also get like boys, you know, involved in this instead of just always seeing young girls. Like where are the boys, you know? So like shouldn't they have some sort of like cultural education as well, you know, instead of just girls just learning how to dance and that being the only culture that they get, you know? So so every summer the Lao Heritage Foundation, they put on a camp, and it's really a couple, like a husband and a wife team that they do like really incredible work, and they teach the camp like out of their house. So I wanted to bring that camp here to the Midwest, to Milwaukee particularly. So this past summer we were able to bring the camp here, hosted at UWM. You know, Alex helped out with some egg rolls, Mama's egg rolls. So really appreciate that, man. I want to say thank you again. So, you know, it was a week-long camp, and the kids like learned some language, they learned music. We had like cultural instructors come in, and just people from the community. So, it was a really good experience. So hopefully we can kind of get that ball rolling. So next summer, Elgin has decided to host. So this is going to be like a rotating camp throughout the Midwest. Okay. Yeah.
So where did, going back a little bit, where did the passion for this, you know, like continuing the Lao culture, introducing it, did it come from your childhood, the way you were raised? Or, I mean, a lot of people, like even myself, just sort of assimilated, got the job, you know, went to college, got the job and all that stuff. And, you know, some of it's lost, you know, unfortunately. But so where did the passion come from you as far as?
I think just seeing like in high school, I was the only Lao kid in my school, right? I had some Hmong students, and I was just like really isolated because I didn't know anyone else. Like I got along with everybody, you know, like the Viet kids, the Hmong kids, the white kids, the black, you know, Hispanic kids. But it was just like, and then every time they were like, "Oh, well, what's Lao culture? Like, what's Lao?" You know, and it was hard for me to like put my finger on one thing. So I was like, man, I gotta really learn my shit, you know, like. So then that's like in high school. So I started to like learn Lao, like reading and writing, like trying to pick it up on my own, with my dad. And then just in college too, same thing. You know, went to Whitewater, you know, predominantly white campus, but they did have a Southeast Asian organization. Okay. But even that was predominantly Hmong.
Hmongs everywhere.
Yeah. So I was like, man, you know,
lions and tigers and Hmongs. Oh my.
Yeah. So I really wanted to just like educate people about Lao, and to do that, I had to educate myself. So that's where that kind of passion kind of.
And what's your degrees in, and your masters and all that?
So I have my bachelor's in secondary education, so like middle school, high school, in social studies, and then I have my master's in geography.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Are you teaching now?
Yeah, so I'm teaching at the Lao American Peace Academy. Okay. Yeah. So a couple years ago, or about a year and a half ago, I went to Laos with Dr. Chia Vang, who's a professor in the history department at UW Milwaukee. Wow. And she asked me to come along to her study abroad to Laos program. Asked me to be like a program assistant to kind of set up programming over there. So, and then a principal from the Hmong American Peace Academy came along on that trip. She brought 3 high school students along, and she asked me after the trip to develop a Southeast Asian history curriculum for the school, for the high school. So I did that, and then she asked me to teach it. So I've been doing that.
Cool.
So when you teach it, is it just to Southeast Asian kids, Hmong and Lao, or is it to everyone really?
Well, the high school it's probably about like 98% Hmong. So these are like
Damn.
Hmong students. Yeah, so
It'd be cool if you could teach it to like fucking other Americans too.
yeah,
They probably need it the most.
yeah, 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 absolutely, man, absolutely.
But yeah, look at these steps, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, by kind of knowing you throughout the years, Ake, I've always wondered like, this dude volunteering, he's not getting paid for it, and I used to volunteer a lot too, but maybe I'm a little more senile than you, and I was like, fuck this shit, like I don't want to volunteer no more. Like people are taking advantage of me. And here's you, like you got a fucking heart of gold, and like let's keep trucking forward. And
yeah, maybe I'm not at that point yet, but I feel it. Yeah, it is very like it's rewarding in a way when you have like the people who do participate and get something out of it. You see, like kids thank you and parents thank you. That's what makes it worthwhile. Yeah. But just having to like run through those fences and jump over those fences just to get money and
you'd be a good executive director. Would that be one of your goals? Is to run shit and you know what I mean? Besides doing legwork. Yeah. Well, we kind of need people like you that are honest, that are Lao,
right?
That are determined. Yeah. And nothing against what you're doing right now, but it sounds like your importance, or you'd be more important in a higher level.
Yeah, that's never really crossed my mind.
No,
man. That's never. Really,
why not?
I'm like pretty content with just like helping people out and whenever I can, because like I just can't see myself being put in that position. Like maybe
that's very honest.
But like I wouldn't mind helping someone else do it though.
Sure.
That's just my personality.
Right. Yeah, I guess you're in the hot seat a lot at that position. Yeah. Totally different ball game. I'm assuming, of course. Mm-hmm. But
so you mentioned your trip, your last trip to Laos, about 5 weeks there, right? Then you went another time, or?
Yeah, the time before that. So I went about a year and a half ago, and that was about 5 weeks for like a study abroad through UWM. Took some kids there. The time before that was in 2010, and that's when I went to study Lao. Mm. Yeah, so I went through the study abroad in Laos program, the Center for Lao Studies.
Where was that located? In what part in Laos?
So you learn Lao in Vientiane at the Lao American College.
Vientiane, okay.
Yeah. So that was an 8-week program. So you spend like half of your day, or about 4 hours a day, learning Lao, and then the other time you do some volunteer work and you do like cultural like excursions throughout the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, when you were in Laos, man, was it what you expected? I mean, right away, what cemented in my head with Laos is like it's really Pat Nok, but I'm so old school where we talked to Pet, I talked to a lot of artists in Laos, so like
it's pretty modernized.
You got coffee shops and Mercedes Benz driving on dirt roads and shit.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that, man. Like there's a Mercedes.
Yeah, the first time I drove I sat in the like a Mercedes-Benz 700 class or whatever.
Why?
It was in Laos. It wasn't even here. And it was
so
just
weird. I
think because I don't know. I think they were trying to impress me or something. But
yeah.
They just pulled up in that. I was like, whoa! I was in my flip-flops and shorts and a white tee.
He didn't look American. Why you dressed like that?
Yeah. But Laos is really modernized, especially in Vientiane and some of the other like the bigger cities. But I was just talking about like the income disparity. It's just crazy. The rich are like really rich, and the poor are still like dirt poor.
Wow. So the rich ones, are they working for the government then?
Yeah, they're probably like working for government, but like people have businesses that are really prosperous.
So you could thrive off a business there if you really wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, there's like huge, like there's a lot of success stories where you have like street vendors who will eventually open restaurants and just make it real big.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting because we were talking about communism earlier and Islam, and what we were talking about a lot of things regarding the stereotypes of, whatever. But so you would assume you couldn't make it in a communist state like that. But from what I'm hearing from you, Like you could actually get big there by
Yeah.
being a. Oh.
But there's still a lot of barriers to, you know, you got to know the right people too. Though,
Oh.
I mean, there's still some money that I'm sure, you know, changes hands under the table and things like that go on. But for the most part, I think people there are opportunities for people to kind of, you know, lift themselves out of poverty there too.
Yeah, my friend Loco in Laos, some G Bloods, he has like his own clothing shop there.
Yeah.
Like you have it looks modern as hell too, like Urban Outfitters style. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Now, do you visit the the really country stuff like the rice paddies and the houses?
See, that's where
on-
I'd want to go, man.
Yeah.
I'd want to go there smoking opium with the farmers and just hearing some lam, dude. Like that's the Laos I want
Where's
to go
the
back to.
feds? Get this
Yeah.
guy.
No.
Yeah, dude. That's the best experience though, when you get out there in the countryside and just really just kick it with
Oh, I
like
can
the
imagine.
regular people, man. Because
Yeah.
like in 2010, they actually like take us out to the countryside to do like village stays.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you get an opportunity to just kind of just plant rice with them and stuff. So
Oh,
like, I don't know if you
dude.
guys ever planted rice. I was born here.
No.
I've never planted rice. and
I've cooked rice.
Yeah.
I've never planted. Wow.
like
How
planting
do I
rice.
get in on this, Ache, man? You gotta hook me up.
Yeah, you should go on this summer study abroad in Laos, yo.
I'm allowed to. Once my son gets older,
Yeah.
we'll take him there.
Yeah, but it's a really good opportunity to like really for especially for like people who grew up here,
Yeah.
who don't really remember as much, or people or
Right.
kids who are born here, to kind of just go back and like see what your parents did, you know, how they like grew up
Yeah.
and how like
You hear people like preaching like, "Oh, I'm a refugee kid," and yada yada, you know. And it's unfortunate that a lot of Kon Lao were put in like the deepest pockets of America, you know, like the hoods, you know,
Yeah.
like the poorest regions, you know.
Sure.
And I see what that does to some people,
Yeah.
you know, and unfortunately, like there's only a good percent of that population that get out of that. Like it goes with African Americans, it goes with
Yeah.
Latinos, but that's where I think a nonprofit that you're working in could help reach out to inner city Laos kids too. My buddy Kid Jungle, he lives in Chicago. He's Kun Lao,
Mhm.
and we did it through break-in because that's the thing that we related to is
Yeah.
like, but I think institutionalized programs like that are so important to anyone, whether it be Lao, Cambodian, whoever, and ran by the right people. I hate to sound like a broken record, but nonprofits need to be ran by the right people and their people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because I've never really been like a business person, you know, like I don't really know how to even go about that really. But if I ever
Yeah.
hear of anything good, you know, like I just want to be a part of it.
Well, dude, I run a business, not too successful. My fiance's opened a few nonprofits, so we
Yeah.
know the business. It's the network behind it
Yeah.
that really gets you there. Essentially, yeah, you have a good idea, you write a grant for it,
Mhm.
you get funded for it. Easier said than done, but dude, that's what it really is. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on like the ground on a couple of them that just didn't pan out. Like, what was it? Seal a few, like about 10 years ago, we tried to do the Southeast Asian leaders
Yeah.
thing that didn't work out. And then,
Where does it all go wrong? Are people just not on the same page when you guys are trying to collaborate on things like this, or?
yeah, I think maybe the vision is not really set. You have a lot of like different ideas going in, you know, and
Yeah.
some of those people don't really voice their opinions until they get in a little too deep, maybe.
Yeah.
And then when their ideas start to come into
I
conflict.
remember like some of my greatest times in childhood was we had an annual thing like in Burlington, right? Like
Yeah.
at the St. Francis retreat or whatever, and we did all the Laos people together, and you know that just died down. I mean, but it happened every year, and it was out in the park or something, or
Yeah.
at the Knights of Columbus or something, and
I think
you know.
me and you have an interesting. Well, you know what's funny? All the guests on their podcast. Sorry, this is random, but
No, it's good.
they were all like in the middle Lao folks. Where if you were always the ghetto Laos person, or you were always the white Laos person. So we were stuck in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Grew up in Burlington,
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, kind of like the redheaded stepchild, never thought he'd fit in.
Yeah.
So growing up, I think in suburbia America or gated areas, I grew up straight up on that. My dad had a chicken coop and all that. But anyways, we went to school with predominantly white folks.
Yeah.
And we felt, well, I can't speak for Sam, but, you know, I did get a feeling where I felt like I wasn't accepted by the Laos folks at my age. And I didn't get accepted by the white folks my age. That was there. Like, that energy, that feeling, that was there for a reason. And that was kind of interesting that I guess we had kind of went through the same shit. So, yeah, we're going to get someone from the gutter next time, and, you know, we'll get it cracking. So, be patient with us for everyone that's listening.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, I grew up, like, in Milwaukee and went to school, you know, mostly black kids. So I didn't even know, like, white people were a majority. You know, I just knew, like, I thought black people were a majority.
That's the opposite for us.
Yeah, that was the opposite for us. But you know, the thing about me growing up in Burlington was I did have a lot of connection to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
My dad's best friends they grew up in the Ville. You know, I consider myself every weekend we go to the Ville. We go to the Ville. So I had like this.
Everybody know what the Ville is?
Yeah. Oh, so the Ville. You want to elaborate on it? Okay. So my experience with the Ville, it's kind of like a project area called Meadow Village on the north side of Milwaukee, where a lot of Laotians, kind of a Laotian project in a way, if you want to say it. But you know, it's like any other fucking project out there. You know, you're kind of forgotten. You know, you kind of grow up on your own. You grow up with violence. You know, but I got a little dose of that, and that's where I'm kind of glad I found hip hop culture, where it kind of is metaphorically speaking towards like world peace in a way, like everyone just vibe together from the deepest, darkest pockets of America. And so, yeah, I got the glimpse of both worlds. I really did. And I would really have to say that growing up that way, I'm glad I did, you know, because I got both sides.
Yeah.
And that's funny because, you know, we grew up in the same town.
Yeah.
You know?
Sam was a G.I. Joe dude.
Well, I think it's...
What does that mean?
The nerd. I was the rambunctious.
I went to the Marines and all that.
You went to the Marines. I was selling dope.
But no, I think it's just the way, like, I think there's a generation that like accepted, you know, assimilated, accepted, had to survive. That's a survival mechanism, where other generations' survival mechanism is, you know, I got to rebel. I gotta change things or show that, you know, I am who I am. So, you know, I don't think it's anyone's fault. I think it's just like how it, you know, pans out historically.
I mean, really, my dad had a lot of connections in Milwaukee, where your family kind of stayed close to the community in Burlington.
Yeah.
And it kind of pans out.
The Lao population in Burlington.
Dude.
5 families? What, 6?
Hanasasas, the Vungsas, the Manopas, Shantarat. Yeah, 5 people. It was pretty bad, but, you know, I can't speak for Sam, but I grew up rebellious because of that, because I was bullied. You know, I remember what's cemented in my head right now. We had a Ville in Burlington, like the the trashy projects. You know what I'm saying? So we were poor as fuck growing up in this place they called the Zoo, because all the minorities are there. But I remember one thing that cemented in my head was I was a kid and there was this little baby duck, or there was this duck nesting her eggs, and this fucking hillbilly dude comes up to me. He's like, "Get out of here! Your family's gonna eat it." And right then and there, I always felt like I had to fucking be tough. Like, I always had to maintain my shit.
A duck story.
So, but so that kind of like was just like kind of set me off. I'm like, dude, I kind of like, I gotta be strong. I gotta stand up for myself.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I took it out the wrong way, where I got in a lot of fights. I kind of took that path. But that's just, I'm a variable, a statistic, and millions of Laotians going through the same shit.
That's why I was kind of surprised hearing you like not having a lot, you know, Laos in your school, just because Milwaukee definitely has a lot more, you know, population.
Yeah. What
high school did you go to, Abe?
What's that?
What high school did you go to?
I went to like an all boys Catholic high school.
Damn.
In Fond du Lac. Because like I actually like grew up. I didn't really go to public school, to be honest. So that's probably part of it. And my mom, because she worked for the church, we got like, you know, I got some money to go to private schools, but even, you know, it was still inner city private schools. Right. So it's not like And you know, he had the like state voucher program, so we got a lot of the population was still like, you know, predominantly inner city black kids.
Did you get shit from the black kids then, or?
Like earlier on, I did. Like I was listening to like some of your other podcasts and how they were talking about like bringing, you know, food like Lao food to lunch. Dude, I would never eat lunch at school because like
you got heated, dude.
Yeah,
man.
Like, you know, like what the fuck is that, dude?
Yeah,
Like, no,
that was
man.
Pet's podcast.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Bring
yeah.
some like sticky rice and seen lard. And
They're like, what the fuck?
We all know martial arts. So
Yeah.
that was
Exactly. But yeah, like the kids that I went to school with, like I stayed at that school like throughout, you know, my at least grade school years, and so it got to a point where like they all knew me, and then so they
That's good.
just like, yeah. So it's good.
Yeah, you didn't want to grow up in the countryside, dude.
Yeah.
There was like race riots going on. It was funny because my friend was a hillbilly, and there was like this race war going on, and he wanted me to help him fight.
On what?
Yeah, on the fucking hillbilly side. Like,
Oh.
how retarded is that?
Because of your kung fu skills.
Yeah, pretty much. They called me gangbanging Alex because I had tattoos when I was in 8th grade, I believe. Anyways, yeah, it just shows you how ridiculous kids can be. But yeah, growing that's I never knew you grew up in, you know, a predominantly black high school.
Oh no, just grade school. Like
Grade
my
school,
my
okay.
high school was like really like national, international, because it was a boarding school, so they had like kids from like all over the country and all over the world.
In Fond du Lac.
Yeah, it's like a.
Did your parents force you to go to that school?
They didn't force me, but actually my like other option. I actually wanted to get out of Milwaukee though. Like I kind of knew that like if I stayed in Milwaukee for high school, that it wasn't gonna be like good. Like I had a lot of friends in Milwaukee.
Dude, times were tough. I had to say tough, but it's a lot different now.
In the
where
90s?
there was
Yeah,
so much gang affiliation
Yeah.
going on, and dude, it was bad.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I was.
Excuse me.
I have to say I was pretty like fortunate in that like I was kind of like kept out of that. Like all my friends, like even my Lao friends, they just kind of they knew like what I was about. You know, like they knew like
Yeah.
I was good in school, and they just kind
You
of
was a
let me
good
do my
kid.
thing. Yeah, I was a good kid.
So they
So,
respected that.
yeah.
They're like, Sam.
Really? Yeah, we can relate.
Yeah.
This guy is not the pinnacle of Burlington.
Yeah,
Prodigy.
I'm not the pinnacle at all.
I always give Alex shit for that.
Well, me and Sam's like a.
But you made it though. You both made it though.
I think I do, or did. Yeah, Sam's like the uber nerdy atheist dude. I'm like the cliche spiritual. So we go back and forth a lot.
Oh yeah.
So what do you foresee? What do you want to accomplish? Like, you know, next few years, 5 years, or just
Foresee?
any goals, plans?
Oh,
as far as-
well, I'm looking to do like personally, I'm looking to go back for more school. Like I'm in the process of applying for a PhD program in Madison.
Holy.
So, and really to go back to Laos essentially to do research in Laos. But the thing is, like, I feel like I need to be here too. You know, like to just keep this this camp going and getting kids involved in that and just being a presence in Milwaukee, because I think we need somebody to kind of bridge that gap between the older and younger generation, and then you know, like me having like emceed a few like Lao veterans events, you know, like
What's the information to your organization you're working for, so we could?
so
people
if you're
know.
looking at, I think it's LaoHeritageFoundation.org.
Okay.
If you're looking for the summer study abroad in Laos program, you can go to Center for Lao Studies. Or
Are they all connected?
LaoStudies.org.
Can they just go to that website and be linked to LaoStudies.org?
They're two different organizations.
Oh, they're two different. Okay.
Yeah. So LaoHeritageFoundation.org and then LaoStudies.org are two different things.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's so many organizations out there where you kind of don't know which ones to trust.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily trust, but which ones are really. I hate to sound biased, but I really believe what you're doing. Like that's why we wanted you on the podcast, because I honestly admire your work and what you're doing, dude.
I mean, you have to really be kind of scrutinize some of these organizations that are out there. Like, you know, I really don't want to involve myself in any organization that I don't trust the vision and the mission. So
have you came across that a lot of times where people reach out to you like, hey, man?
Yeah, especially when they like they're just up and starting, and you know, like I just kind of just want to wait and see how they kind of do, and
Right.
yeah, so that's always kind of been my MO, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, I'm learning that slowly, where I just can't nosedive into anything that sounds cool.
Yeah.
I've done it a lot in my past.
So Alex, you and I are both, newly fathers and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
do you see sending your kid to some, camps like this, or trying to get them more integrated as well?
Well, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I can't spend my whole life, or I can't spend that much time with everything going on, with dedicating him to just learning Lao culture as much as I would. I mean, there's some metaphors in that where, Laos culture to me is like, by tukbit, by go fishing with my dad and taking it home, we cook it together. So there's so many variables to that. But yeah, academically, hell yeah. Like I definitely take my son to a program that Ake's doing, and
Yeah, it's definitely a balance. Like what you said, like the Lao culture is really taught like in the home.
Yeah.
It's really has to be passed on. I mean, you can go to as many summer camps as you want, but if it's not reinforced in the home,
absolutely.
they're not gonna get it.
Right.
Yeah. So
Well, there's like this new wave, where it's never going to be the same as the first generation.
yeah.
And I'm afraid, like, I know that. So like when I get scrutinized from like the elders, like you should do this with your son, you should do that with your son. They're not in my shoes where, I work my ass off. I run a business.
Yeah.
I, being a father on top of that, you gotta kind of nitpick what you want. So that's where I think organizations like this are great, where, hey, if there's a resource where I could take my son to give him what I can't, why not?
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I mean, like, and culture's always changing too. So for parents to kind of let go and let their kids just kind of do what they want to do, but at the same time, you kind of, I think it's important to instill some of the values. So at least some of the values are important, though.
Sure.
Right.
One thing I want to do with my son is the respect of the elders.
Yeah, definitely.
Where you don't yell at them, you don't talk back, I think respect will go a long way if it's still very young, as cliche as that sounds, but that's one thing that's predominant in our culture. Like you're gonna get your fucking stomach gawk if or your ear twisted, man.
Yeah.
At a very young age. That happened to me quite a few times.
Really?
So, yeah.
I was just
like, what I get, stomach gawk for?
Yeah, you deserved it though.
A lot of times I didn't, but whatever. Well, that's another interesting question. That I think we should talk about is assimilating, like, how Lao parents are really, well, I grew up with really tough parents, man. And it made my sisters run the other way, especially my oldest sister. She ran the other way from my mom. They don't talk.
Really?
They have no relationship. I'm not sure if it's because she's the first child and got so much shit.
Yeah.
Like, you look after your siblings. My mom used to beat the shit out of her.
Oh, man.
And, someone looking on the outside like, oh, that's just how it is. But I think it's important to look at that and like, we could have more dialogue, better dialogue with our kids, besides doing things traditionally and just whipping their ass all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Ake?
Oh, man. I think it just, like, growing up, like, I lived with my grandparents. Like, my grandparents we all lived in the same house. And then my grandpa was a really, like, strict disciplinarian. Like, he, my Sam, like, he would just whip the shit out of us sometimes.
Yeah.
But man, that's a really tough question though.
Yeah.
But I think it's education on the part of the parent. They
Right.
gotta be willing to know that this is a different place and this is a different time.
Yeah.
Kids react differently to discipline.
Yeah. And then, but the kids gotta understand too, like, man, like our parents and our grandparents, they just kind of like were forced to leave, and then they're kind of thrown into this new situation where they're gonna have to like quickly adapt.
That's where my sister, I don't think she could. She doesn't understand that. She doesn't connect those dots.
Yeah.
Where she, as a young kid, like, it really took it personal.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like, she's in a situation with my mom, which it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Seeing them have this relationship, because my mom's trying still, and at the same time, I'm like, Nora, like, you're fucking retarded. She came here, took care of you, like. And this is the way you repay her back. You know what I mean? It's so unfortunate. But I can see. Hold on, I can see why a little girl that been told not to have a life, not to have a life, all these ill words that our parents say. I can see someone taking the wrong way and running with it because it happens a lot, Unfortunately, my sister just went the other way with it rather than like understand it all.
Yeah, man, a lot of parents can be like physically and verbally abusive.
Well,
man.
yeah, as far as parenting goes, like, every podcast we seem to quote the Buddha, but like, you got to take like a middle path where, like my generation was you just provide the food and the shelter, and that was being a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, soccer moms these days, oh my gosh, where every minute is like scheduled, like, it's time for ballet. All right, let's go play soccer. Like they have no time to be themselves either. So yeah, I think somewhere in the middle.
It's gotta be somewhere in the middle.
See, my mom is still about money, and she's like proclaims to be like this hardcore Buddhist, but she's always stressing money at me. I'm like, man, holy cow, like this
On you to make money?
Yeah, it's all money driven for her. And I'm like, Matt, see if you, I want to be happy.
Yeah.
Like that should be the ultimate Buddhist theory. But you're a Buddhist mom, so you should understand this.
Yeah.
And she's like, I just worry about you. Matt Jom.
But yeah, I mean, parents, they worry, they just want to see you do well. And I get that too, but.
See, I could understand that.
But my doing well is like different than your perception of doing well.
Did you get that from your parents at all, or are they money driven?
I wouldn't say money driven, but they're just kind of like occupation driven.
Me too,
security.
Yeah, security. More about security than anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't want to have to worry about you. I'm like, don't worry about me.
I know, right? Exactly.
You don't have to worry. I'm good.
I'm like, that's every conversation with my mom. Like, I worry about you, and I'm just like, well,
are you the youngest?
I'm the youngest.
Okay.
I'm the youngest. Well, my dad passed like six years
Bakla.
ago. Bakla, yeah. 6 years ago, man, and like, again, back to the story where it's so weird in the Laos culture where the females don't. I do the most for my mom. Like, I'm there probably every day. I help her out around the yard. My sister doesn't know where to be found, and that's the unfortunate reality of that discipline. Like my sister just, I'm sure my sisters aren't the only ones that go through this. I'm sure there's other Laoan situations that are doing what my sisters are doing. But yeah, I mean, I learned from that, and I learned from my parents' mistakes. Ultimately, I hate to say it, but considering they did so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like a big like identity search. Honestly, when you're refugees, you come in and you're just thrown in and then need to assimilate. It's a huge identity search. In U.S. they're really push the independent. Even as far as women go, independent woman. You got to get on your own and you got to make your own and all this. And with guys too. So it's just trying to find that balance is difficult, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely tough, man. Like, because for our parents, like, what we do reflects on them. Like, and then the message that we get from society is that, we're just in it for ourselves, and, whatever we do is just reflecting on us. But that's not the case in the Lao community, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, parents talk about other kids, they talk about other parents.
They're so jealous. I always Bung man, look how.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Key, but Johnny ni.
They compare.
Oh, man.
Always.
Yeah. It's crazy. But it's not really like encouraging. I mean, like me having worked in schools, like I can like see in school how that affects kids too. Because like these Hmong kids, they do the same things. Like, I had a kid like get a 96 on her test, and she was like, "Man, I did so bad." And, like,
really?
Yeah.
Damn. If I got a B, mom,
like, my mom is gonna.
Car.
Oh my god! Like I had this really good A student come in for parent-teacher conferences, and then like on Friday, she came on parent-teacher conferences on Friday, and then on Monday she came back to school. She was like, Mr. Ake, like my mom was yelling at me the whole Friday night. I was like, wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm optimistic in the sense where, as generations go on, we can keep, again, back to the Buddha, apply what works and disregard what doesn't. Yep. And you could still be a proud Laotian too.
Yeah. Trying to find that balance between it all.
Well, it's good. It's inspiring hearing, your side of the story. This is the first time we've met, and just knowing that there's people out there trying to make a difference and trying to get us together.
Hey, your brother's an independent filmmaker, right?
Yeah, he graduated with a degree in film production. So I mean, he's tried. I mean, it's hard to make money.
Yeah.
So he's just got a regular 9 to 5 now, but he does like stuff on the side, his own stuff.
That's crazy. Yeah, I see one of his films. He went back to Laos actually, right?
No.
He did a short film though, right?
Yeah, he did a short film.
What's that film that I think it showed you guys like driving on the Mekong River in a boat, and you asked him like, "What does this mean?" Or what the fuck
Is that my brother?
I think so. Yeah, you were in it.
I think he would know if he was in the movie.
You sure it was me?
It was a film project, dude. I
The
could swear it
Mekong
was you.
River.
Maybe it was on the Fox River, but it looked like the Mekong River. I don't know.
Did I have my beer loud with me, or was it
You guys were
highlight?
younger. I know that.
Huh?
Yeah, and then it shows you guys at your parents' house, and all the OGs are gambling and doing.
Oh, it might have. Yeah, that might have been for his senior project or something.
Okay.
But yeah.
I remember. I'm just like drawing bits and pieces of my past and like, hey, yeah, you did a documentary.
Yeah.
But fucking V, man, he was supposed to come.
Yeah.
With me. That guy's so weird, dude.
He went Christmas shopping.
He's, V,
Married life, man.
something life. V, I love you, dude. I want to get him on the show and talk.
Yeah.
V's like,
Yeah.
too cool for some shit like that. I don't know if
We're not going to talk about a dude. He can't defend himself.
No, you can't. No, we love you, V.
Yeah.
We just want you on the fucking
awesome,
show because
man.
you're an awesome artist.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're trying to get V on the show and try to get Vinylville on the show.
Yeah.
This
Definitely.
dude's like, I ain't got time for that. But you got time to go eat some sushi. All right, enough about talking about V and putting you on blast. You know it comes from a good place, V.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. Again, like I don't fuck with a lot of Laos organizations.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of reasons why, because I don't know their motives, but you get that gut feeling.
Yeah.
And I really, for whatever it's worth, dude, I am totally into what you're doing. You bounce a good vibe off of, your heart's there. Like I get that vibe from you.
Yeah.
And just if anyone that's listening right now, if there's any last words that you want to say or plug your organization again, by all means do it, man.
Yeah, I just want to, thank you guys again, Alex, Sam, just for having me out. I think this is an awesome kind of a platform to kind of get at least the Lao community out, Lao issues, anything that's going on that has to deal with Laos here in the U.S. or back in Laos. So just again, like for those of you, for parents who want to educate their kids about Lao culture, may not have the time at home. There are opportunities here in Milwaukee. I did teach Lao language for a little bit. Again, that was just on my own time. So, contact me if you're interested in learning some of the traditional instruments. You can contact me. Check out LaoHeritageFoundation.org. If you're interested in more of the academic and study abroad in Laos, check out LaoStudies.org. But other than that, man, happy to be here.
Listen to him. He's a fucking natural. Like, you're not an executive director yet? Oh, my God. Hey, come on now. Yeah, we're going to help you out with that. Like, you belong in a position where you can
Do
say those
like that,
words
man.
so eloquently and do something right in the community. We just scratched the surface with it, Akarath.
Yeah.
Man, promise
Yeah.
that you come back and fucking do this shit again.
Yeah, absolutely,
Cool,
man.
man.
This has been awesome, and I'm close. I'm not that far away. So.
Yeah, so again, listeners, man, excuse the technical difficulties, excuse my 4 beers deep in. It's just what people don't understand is like having someone like you here and our guests here. I kind of get nervous and like it's overwhelming to hear the story. So like, dude, there's a lot of shit that goes behind this, and thank you for listening. And if anyone out there, that wants to hear a special guest on, please shoot them on our Facebook, Talking Loud. You know what's funny though too? I thought Talking Loud was original, but then I went online and like there's talking loud everywhere, like in quotations, like talking loud. Anyways,
Big
yeah.
plug too. Like, this is the 40th year anniversary of a lot of like Southeast Asian or
40th year.
refugees.
Wow.
So 75 to 2015. So there's a lot of
Wow.
things going on campuses throughout the country. So check those out. If you're near.
Yeah, Ake, if
any
you want
kind
to
of
plug some
program.
more, more shit. I know Pet's doing some shit with Legacies of War.
Yeah, Legacies of War. The Lao Writer Summit next May 2016. I think there's some stuff going on in California right now, the 40th anniversary type of things. So
Yeah, we're gonna do the shit with Pat
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I talked to you about
Okay,
earlier. Well,
yeah.
what we're trying to do is, what I'm trying to do, and I kind of just think Ake and Brian and Pat are on board, but we want to do a dinner. We want to do a dinner where
yeah,
we cook a 4-course Laos meal and have a lam band there. And anyways, that's not in paper yet.
Alex on the can.
Yeah, put your earplugs in. I'll be with a knife and cutting board. But hey, again, kapcha lalai. And we really appreciate everyone listening. And again, bear with us. So we're wrinkling out some kinks right now. So I appreciate everyone listening. Last words, Ake?
No, man, just want to say thank you again, guys.
Oh, you bet, man. All right, guys.
you.
Our next podcast. Who's our guest? I don't even know. Yeah,
The voice inside your head.
that voice. There's some organization shit that needs to be going on here for real. But hey, thank you very much, and keep listening.